Imagine a man who could see lightning in his dreams. A man who invented the modern world, alternating current, radio, remote control, robotics, and died alone in a hotel room, owing thousands of dollars. Imagine a man who was cheated by tycoons, laughed at by journalists, and forgotten by history for half a century. Now imagine that same man, standing in his laboratory at 3 a.m., sparks flying from his fingertips, whispering to himself, "I am the light. I am the light." This is not a tragedy. This is the most hopeful story you will ever hear. Welcome to our channel. Today, we are telling the story of Nikola Tesla, the poet of electricity, the dreamer who refused to let the world break him. And by the end of this video, you will never look at a light switch the same way again. Nikola Tesla was born on July 10, 1856, in the village of Smiljan, in modern-day Croatia. His father, Milutin, was an Orthodox priest. His mother, Duka, was illiterate, but she had a photographic memory. She could recite epic poems by heart and build mechanical devices from scratch using only her intuition. Tesla later said, "All my creative genius came from my mother." As a child, Nikola was haunted by visions. Flashes of light would explode in front of his eyes. He saw objects not as they were, but as they could be. The other children thought he was strange. His teachers thought he was lazy. But one night, during a terrible thunderstorm, little Nikola sat on his grandfather's knee. Lightning split the sky. The boy was not afraid. He was electrified. "Look," he whispered. "The whole world is singing." That was his hope. He saw music where others saw chaos. At 19, he nearly died of cholera. Bedridden for 9 months, the doctors told his father to prepare a burial. But Nikola refused to give up. He begged his father to let him study engineering instead of joining the priesthood. His father wept and agreed. Nikola walked out of that sickbed. And he never looked back. Tesla studied at the Austrian Polytechnic in Graz. He was obsessive. He would work for 24 hours straight, sleep for 2 hours, and wake up refreshed. But his professors hated him. He questioned everything. He argued that direct current, the system backed by Thomas Edison, was inefficient and dangerous. They called him arrogant. He failed to graduate. His father died. Tesla fell into a deep depression. He gambled. He lost everything. He worked as a ditch digger for a while, a university dropout digging holes in Budapest. Visual pause, let that sink in. The man who would light up the Chicago World's Fair was digging ditches. And yet, hope. One afternoon in Budapest, Tesla was walking through the park with a friend. The sun was setting. Suddenly, he stopped. He grabbed a stick and started drawing diagrams in the dirt. He had just invented the rotating magnetic field. The principle behind alternating current motors. The entire modern electrical grid, drawn in the mud. He looked at his friend and said, "See that? That is my engine. And it works perfectly." He had nothing. No lab. No money. No degree. But he had the idea. And he believed in it with every cell of his body. In 1884, Tesla arrived in New York City with 4 cents in his pocket, a poem in his bag, and a letter of recommendation for Thomas Edison. Edison read the letter. It said, "My dear Edison, I know 2 great men. You are one of them? The other is this young man." Edison hired Tesla instantly. But the relationship was doomed. Edison promised Tesla $50,000, over $1 million today, to redesign his inefficient direct current generators. Tesla worked day and night for months. He fixed everything. When he went to collect his money, Edison laughed. "Tesla," he said, "you don't understand American humor." He offered him a $10 raise instead. Tesla quit on the spot. He walked out into a New York winter, penniless, unemployed, and betrayed. This is where most biographies turn dark. But watch what Tesla did next. He dug ditches again, manual labor, just to survive. He slept in unheated buildings. He got sick. He nearly starved. But every night, he returned to his tiny room and drew diagrams of his alternating current motor. He wrote in his journal, "I am not a failure. I am just delayed. Hope is patient." In 1887, Tesla found two investors who believed in him. They gave him a small laboratory in Liberty Street, New York. Within 6 months, Tesla built the first practical alternating current motor. He demonstrated it to the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. The audience gasped. This was not an improvement on Edison's system. This was a revolution. Enter George Westinghouse, a kind, honest industrialist. Westinghouse bought Tesla's patents for $60,000 in cash plus royalties. For the first time in his life, Tesla had money. But Edison was terrified. Alternating current threatened his entire empire. So Edison started a propaganda war. He publicly electrocuted animals with AC current to prove it was dangerous. He helped design the electric chair, using AC, hoping to brand Tesla's system as the executioner's current. The press called it the War of the Currents. Tesla refused to fight dirty. Instead, he gave a public demonstration at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, the Columbian Exposition. He lit 90,000 light bulbs simultaneously. He walked across the stage holding a glowing tube with no wires attached. The crowd of 100,000 people fell silent. "This," Tesla said quietly, "is the future." And the future chose him. Westinghouse won the contract to power Niagara Falls, the first hydroelectric power plant in the world. AC became the global standard. Tesla could have been the richest man in history. His AC royalty contract was worth billions of dollars in today's money. But Westinghouse faced financial ruin from Edison's legal attacks. He went to Tesla and begged, "I cannot pay you. I will lose the company." Tesla tore up the contract. He ripped millions of dollars into shreds. "Mr. Westinghouse," he said, "you have been my only friend. Keep your money. I will find another way." That is hope. Not greed. Not revenge. But the knowledge that your work matters more than your bank account. Tesla moved to Colorado Springs in 1899. He built a 142-foot tower topped by a copper ball. At night, he turned it on. Lightning bolts, artificial, controlled, human-made lightning, shot 135 feet into the air. The sky turned white. The ground trembled. People 20 miles away heard the crackle. Horses ran in fear. Tesla sat in the center of this storm, reading Goethe's Faust. He was not afraid. He was home. He claimed that he had received signals from another planet, possibly Mars. The newspapers laughed at him. "Crazy Tesla," they wrote. But Tesla did not care. He was trying to give the world free wireless energy. He wanted to send electricity through the air, no wires, no bills, no poverty. He called it the World Wireless System. Here is the heartbreak. And the deepest hope. Tesla's financier, J.P. Morgan, asked him, "Where do I put the meter? How do I charge people for air?" Tesla said, "You don't. This is for humanity." Morgan pulled his funding. Tesla's dream collapsed. He suffered a nervous breakdown. His laboratory burned down twice, destroying a century of notes, models, and inventions. In 1915, newspapers reported that Tesla and Edison would share the Nobel Prize. They didn't. Tesla never won a Nobel Prize. He never married. He never had children. He lived his final decades in the New Yorker hotel, alone, feeding injured pigeons on his windowsill. One pigeon, a white female, he loved more than any human. He said, "I love that pigeon as a man loves a woman. She came to me every night. And when I held her, I felt the electricity flowing." People laughed. They called him an eccentric. A failure. A ghost of the Gilded Age. But here is where you must listen carefully. In 1931, at age 75, Tesla gave an interview. He said, "I am not a failure. I have created everything I set out to create. Just because the world is not ready for my wireless energy does not mean it will never be ready." He continued working. He wrote papers on teleforce, what we now call directed energy weapons. He designed vertical takeoff aircraft. He predicted the smartphone, saying, "Within 100 years, men will carry a device that fits in their pocket and connects them to the entire world." He was not bitter. He was not broken. Toward the end of his life, a young journalist asked him, "Mr. Tesla, you gave away billions in royalties. You live in a hotel room. You have nothing. Are you angry?" Tesla looked at her with those deep, sad, luminous eyes. "My child," he said, "I have everything. I have seen the future. And it is beautiful. I do not need to own it. I only needed to dream it. That is the hope we are here to give you. Nikola Tesla died on January 7, 1943, in room 3327 of the New Yorker Hotel. He was 86. He was alone. The medical examiner found a worn copy of the Divine Comedy by Dante beside his bed. His funeral was small. His casket was draped with American and Yugoslavian flags. The mayor of New York City said nothing. The president said nothing. But the lights of Manhattan did not go out. Every light bulb, every motor, every generator, every radio tower, all of them whispered his name. Today, Tesla is no longer forgotten. The electric car company named after him, Tesla Motors, is worth more than Ford, GM, and Chrysler combined. His image is on currency. His name is in textbooks. The world finally caught up. But the real legacy of Nikola Tesla is not a car or a patent. The real legacy is this. He taught us that you can be cheated, laughed at, forgotten, and broke, and still be right. He taught us that you can feed pigeons instead of wearing tuxedos, and still be a genius. He taught us that you can see lightning in your dreams, and spend 50 years trying to give it to the world for free. To our audience in the USA, the UK, and Canada. You are watching this video in a world that often confuses wealth with wisdom, and fame with worth. Tesla had neither wealth nor fame for most of his life. But he had conviction. If you are sitting in a dark room right now, feeling like a failure. If you lost your job. If you failed your exam. If people laughed at your idea. If you are broke. If you are alone. Listen carefully. Nikola Tesla dug ditches. Twice. He tore up $1 billion contract. He watched his laboratory burn to ash. He died in a hotel room. And yet, on his worst day, standing in the mud with a stick, drawing a motor that did not yet exist, he was already the richest man on earth. Because hope is not about what you have. Hope is about what you see. If Tesla's story lit something inside you today, hit that like button, not for us, but for the dreamer in room 3327 who never stopped believing. Subscribe for more forgotten heroes who changed the world with nothing but a vision. And in the comments below, what is the one invention you wish Tesla had finished? For me? Free wireless energy. For the whole world. Just like he imagined. Thank you for watching. Keep the sparks flying. Fade to black. A single, beautiful electric arc crackles across the screen. Soft, hopeful piano music fades in. Let the future tell the truth. Nikola Tesla.